Today we're going to show you step by step on how to break in a brand new generator. I have to stress, always read your manual first. This Cummins didn't have a break-in procedure. So we're going to go ahead and start by removing the inspection cover on the side of the generator. Go ahead and pop the oil plug out, and we're going to pull the spark plug. I don't show it in here, but I ended up having to use a different tool to get this out because it was extremely tight. Once you have that removed, we're going to go ahead and put maybe a teaspoon of Lucas oil stabilizer down in the cylinder. Now what this will do is help it from having a dry start. Next, we're going to go ahead and fill up the oil to manufacturer's specifications. So you got to take your time with this. It's kind of tricky, and you don't want to overfill it. That is a big no-no. We're also going to add just a touch of Marvel Mystery Oil in here, and that'll help with upper cylinder lubrication. This is the oil that came with this generator. I don't really know much about it other than it's 1030. And we're going to put a rag over the spark plug hole and give it about 10 pulls. What this will do is help get everything pre-lubricated before we go ahead and do our first start. Like I said before, this is how you avoid doing what's called a dry start. Now we're going to go ahead and put the spark plug back in place and replace the boot. Put the inspection cover back on. Next, we're going to go ahead and add a splash of fuel, followed by a few ounces of Marvel Mystery Oil. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I like running additives in most of my fuels. Then we'll go ahead and fill the tank all the way up. Make sure your eco mode is off. We're going to go ahead and get the generator started. And it might take some time. And that little bit of smoke is just the oil stabilizer burning off. We're going to go ahead and set a timer for 1 hour, and we're going to let this run at high RPM. After, go ahead and shut the machine off and drain the oil out. And try not to make a mess like I did. You know how it goes. And then, because this is a real video, you probably want to clean up your area after you spill it all over the back of your truck. Now, it might be hard to see, but there's a couple little metal flakes in here, and that's from the factory. Next, we're going to go ahead and refill it with 10W30. This is just Napa grade oil. And now, we're going to start it, and we're going to run it at a quarter load. These Home Depot lights are about 600 watts a piece. So we'll go ahead and we will turn on one, which will give it approximately a 25% load. And we're going to go ahead and run that for another hour. As you can see here, it's showing about 25%. Alright, now that hour's up, we're going to shut it down, and we're going to change the oil again. Surprise, surprise. This time, we're going to try to not make a mess. But it still kind of gets everywhere. But, that's just kind of how things go. Now, you can see the oil's looking a little bit cleaner, so it's time to change it once again. Now we're going to run it for 30 minutes at about a half load. Like I said, each of these lights are 600 watts, so that'll give us about 1200 watts. After 30 minutes, I went ahead and hooked up my other lights, and now we're going to run it for 30 minutes at 3/4 of a load. After that 30 minutes is up, we're going to run it at 100% load. As you can see right there, it's showing about 100%. These lights don't perfectly draw 600 each. Now we're gonna shut it down, and guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna change the oil once again. So go ahead, pop that cover off, and we'll get to it. Now as you can see, the oil is quite a bit darker after running at a much higher load, which is a good thing. That means everything's getting worn in together. And here's a close-up. You can see how dark that is. So for this last oil change, I'm putting in 5W30 full synthetic. The reason being is this is the oil I'm normally going to run in the generator because I run it in all climates. Now that it's broke in, I'm going to go ahead, fire it up, and we're going to run it on eco mode. And the reason I did this is I wanted to see how quickly the generator would change RPM depending on the load. So we'll start with the first, and I kind of quickly go through running all the lights, all the way up and all the way back down. So this is a pretty generic break-in procedure. I didn't record it afterwards, but the next day, once everything was cooled down, this Cummins generator did start on the first pull. So, enjoy the rest of the video if you care to watch. I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you next time.